Hello and welcome in, everybody. I'm Andromeda Astria, and today we're going to be talking about taking care of your voice. This is something that is very, very important for VTubers and any other performer that's using their voice regularly, which is most of them, honestly. So let's go ahead and get into some of the basics. Here we have the most important piece of this video. If it hurts, stop. This means don't take throat lozenges or throat sprays or throat teas to get you through a stream or a performance. This means don't push past pain and think you'll deal with it later. This means if you have strained your voice, you need to take vocal rest afterwards. This can be as little as a day or as much as a week or two, depending on what you've done and how much your voice needs to rest. This means take care of yourself. And if something hurts, you have to stop now, because if you don't, you're going to cause long-term damage that will cut your career short. And by short, I mean you will have a couple of years to do whatever vocally you're doing, because the throat does not take that much. If you are constantly damaging it, you're going to be lucky if you get 5 years. After that, you are not going to be able to use your voice to perform in the way that you would like to. So please, please, if there's nothing else you watch in here and nothing else you take from this, just take this one piece, that if something hurts, don't do it anymore. Stop it now. Figure out how not to do it again. Now that we've gone over that piece, our next most important thing is going to be hydration. Now, the thing with hydration is this does not mean only drinking water while you're streaming or while you're performing. This means you need to keep yourself constantly hydrated. This means drinking water throughout the day. This means drinking lots of water. And when I say water, I don't mean tea, I don't mean sodas, I don't mean juices, I don't mean coffee. I mean water specifically. Nice old plain room temperature or slightly warm but not too hot water. Again, this is not iced water. This is not super hot water. We want to make sure we are drinking regular old room temperature water. The other thing is going to be paying attention to the humidity in the room in which you are performing, because humidity or lack of humidity is actually going to have a bad effect on your vocal cords. So we want to make sure the air we're breathing in is very humid. We're going to want to make sure that we are constantly throughout the day, every day, hydrated, and that we are hydrating ourselves with room temperature water. So here we have a list of things to avoid. We do have 2 sections to it. On the left, we have things that are caffeinated, because caffeine does dehydrate you, which means it does dehydrate your vocal cords. And we want to keep those nice and hydrated. So we do want to limit our caffeine intake. Now I say limit here because different bodies will have different reactions. So you do need to check for yourself and see how much caffeine you can handle and still have your voice stay nice and moist. So that list is just of things that happen to be caffeinated, and you're going to have to figure it out and do some trial and error on your own. Obviously, if you want to be the safest, avoid them completely. But if you're looking at that list and going, oh, but I really don't want to, you can still obviously have these, just you probably don't want to have 4 cups of coffee the day that you're streaming. On the right, we have another list. Now, each thing on this list is going to be slightly separate, so we're going to go over them one by one. First, we have alcohol. Now, a lot of vocal performers, singers, voice actors will actually not drink alcohol the night before they have a performance, just because alcohol is very drying to your throat. So if you are going to be using your voice a lot the next day, it is best to avoid drinking it for roughly, I guess it would be about 18 hours beforehand. You just want to give enough time for it to stop having dried your throat out. Now, the next one we have is dairy. Dairy is kind of up in the air, and it is a personal thing. For some people, you can eat as much dairy as you want. It's not a big deal. For some people, it will make them quite mucusy. Now, this is a problem with the quality of your voice, but it can also be a problem physically, because too much mucus will make you clear your throat more often. Clearing your throat can cause damage. So check out and see how much dairy you can have. It may be a problem for you, it may not. Same thing with spicy things. It can cause a problem, but it won't necessarily. It can cause irritation and inflammation in your throat. Same with acidic stuff. So with those two, you really want to just check and see how you're doing, because any sort of irritation or inflammation is, again, going to end up damaging the folds in your throat. The next one is anything too hot or too cold. So you don't want to have ice water, because it can constrict the blood vessels and, again, make your vocal cords not work as well and end up getting damaged. Same with too hot, it can actually burn your throat and cause instant damage. Now here we have one that is essentially, if you want to be a voice performer of any kind, you need to not smoke and not vape. It causes massive damage that is not reversible. So this isn't a stay away from it most of the time or stay away from it only a certain amount of time before a performance. Don't do it. Unfortunately, this is one thing that you really are going to have to stop doing if you want a long career in any sort of vocal-based thing. If you want to be a singer, you want to be a performer with your voice actor, VTuber, anything along those lines, stop smoking, stop vaping, get rid of it now. It is going to cut your career short. Carbonation is another thing that can irritate your throat. It can cause burps, it can mess up recordings. It's not necessarily going to damage you unless it does irritate your throat. So figure out where you stand on this. Personally, it's going to be how your own body reacts. But there we go. That's most of the stuff you need to avoid. There's probably some other stuff that I've missed, and I will add it in the comments if I think it up. Next, we have warm-up. This means you never want to go into any sort of vocal session cold, meaning your vocal cords have not been used yet that day. Warm-ups are pretty easy, pretty simple. A lot of singers make sure to do at least 20 minutes. I personally have always been fine with about 5 minutes, but it's really going to depend on your body, and you're going to have to figure out what kind of warm-ups work best for you. But at least do a little bit of light humming, maybe some very soft, gentle singing, not pushing at all in any way. A really great one is to massage your face muscles, especially your jaw muscles, and you can do a nice little massage of underneath your chin, your tongue muscle. It's all quite nice. But again, you don't want to overdo it, because I have had teachers who ran classes where they did an hour of warm-ups, and by the end of it, everyone was completely done and not able to do whatever the performance they were supposed to do. So I would say stick with about 5 to 15 minutes of warming up, 20 if you really want to. And yeah, you should be good with that. Finally, we have work your way up. I know you see a lot of VTubers and performers doing 8, 12, 24-hour streams and doing them regularly. But what I want you to remember is that that's not where they started. This is a muscle-based thing. This is something you need to work your way up to. So when you're first starting out, you really should be starting with half-hour, hour-long streams. See if your voice can handle it. Then you can move up to 1.5 hours. You can move up to 2 hours. You can keep moving up until you hit the point where you are starting to have vocal issues. Then pull it back and don't stream beyond that. The people you see streaming longer are going to be the people either who are not paying attention to this and are medicating themselves to be able to stream longer, which is terrible, and do not do that, or the people who are vocally trained. There are quite a few VTubers, especially big VTubers, who are either actors or singers, and they have proper vocal training, which part of it is about doing it right, and part of it is about being able to recognize when your voice needs a break. So that's one of the most important pieces about being trained, is understanding this is my limit for today, I need to stop. But tomorrow my limit is 2 or 3 hours longer, and that's absolutely fine. Personally, I usually shoot for about 4-hour streams, because that is about where my range is very happy. But I have done as short as 2-hour streams if my voice is starting to feel strained. There is nothing wrong with starting to wrap things up early if you know that you are going to start hurting yourself if you keep going. I've also done as long as 7-hour streams because my voice was just fine. Absolutely no problems that day, very nicely going, no pain, no issues, no nothing, no problems after the stream. I probably could have kept going for a couple more hours that day as well. So a lot of this really is about checking in with your body and understanding and recognizing when you've hit a limit and when you are pushing past the limit and you're going to cause problems. Only you are ever going to know what your body is capable of. But if you're using medication to extend your capabilities, understand that that is going to cut your career short. While it may help you today, it will not help you in the long run. So you do need to understand what your personal limits are without any enhancements. I guess the best way to put it. So yeah, start small. Make sure you're taking breaks. Make sure that you take breaks in between days. Make sure if you hurt yourself, you take a decent sized break until you are recovered again, assuming that this is something you want to do long term. That is all I have for you today on the basics of vocal care as a performer. If you would like me to go into any more depth in any of these, go ahead and pop a comment down underneath this video, or go ahead and pop into the Discord and ask a question in there. Either version is absolutely welcome. I hope you guys go ahead and have a long, happy vocal career. I will see you guys next time.